Hello, everybody. Welcome once more to Tony the Mole Adams YouTube channel. And I want to thank you for supporting a really strong video last week, which is obviously a result of Tony writing a very strong column. But I think his column this week is even stronger. Coming to us from warm, balmy Canberra in the ACT. Tony, how are you?
Yeah, doing well, Steve, and it's rugby league heartland, Canberra, and it's Canberra in winter. I can see why teams don't want to come here at night because I just went outside and I came back in very quickly, and I can't feel my toes. So Canberra in winter, a very cold place, and I can, as I said, rival teams for over the next couple of months. Look out. Bring two pairs of socks. That's the only advice I can give you.
I remember when Ricky Stewart was coaching other clubs, and it was a fine if you mentioned the cold. When he was at the Roosters, and of course now he's down there. I bet he probably pays. It might be money on offer to mention the cold if you're a visiting team. So it certainly is a psychological, definitely a psychological thing. Now, your first item in your
Yeah, and
column. Sorry.
yeah, I just a little side story there. I know for a fact that Canberra players get in the ear of opposition players before the game. Mates of theirs, and sort of say, "Oh, geez, it's going to be cold out there tonight." And that's not just making small talk; it's to get in their heads. So yeah, the cold's definitely a factor down here.
Now, your column this week kicks off with Brandon Smith from the Roosters, and we know what happened. He got dropped and breach notice, and he went on his podcast, which maybe didn't make it any better. But both sides are now sort of trying to suggest it's in the past, that it's not going to be any ongoing drama. What say you, Tony?
Yeah, well, look, I can tell you, Steve, that it's far from over. The Roosters aren't happy with Smith. So unhappy, in fact, that they'd love to cut ties with him. The problem is he's on very big money, and his reputation in the game here is not great for the stuff he does off the field, and he hasn't exactly been setting the world on fire on the field either. So it's they'd love to sell him off to a rival club. But question is, which club would take him? And you can sort of smell a rat when he was issued with this breach notice for being late to a team meeting. You get the impression that's just the tip of the iceberg, and that's how I've basically described it. There's several other things he's done that we can't really talk about, but let's just say they haven't gone down well with players and they haven't gone down well with officials. So look for him to be in different colours next year if they can do a deal with someone.
Trent Merrin, former Australia forward, is a guy maybe the viewers and listeners haven't thought about in a while. But Tony, you do have some news on him, and it's not good.
Yeah, and I believe he captained Leeds over there, didn't he, for a while, Steve? I saw his name mentioned in one of the pommy papers in regard to this. He was arrested and charged by police for breaching an apprehended domestic violence order last week. Now, he came out and made a statement that all he did was drive past his ex-partner's house to see if it's been sold. Now, this thing goes to court next week, so we've got to be very careful what we say. But let me just say that there's a fair bit more to it than that. So keep your eye out for a legal case about this time next week.
We're three items into your column, and of course, you can read it through the links in the show description. Not only can, but should, because without the column, we wouldn't be doing the video. But by the third item, the news is getting a bit better, Tony, I think. Dean Whare, who I'll tell you what, they definitely need him. Where I am now, I can walk to London Broncos home ground in about 38 minutes. And they'd certainly love to have him there again this year because they definitely need him, and he did a great job for them last year. But Dean Whare's found a new club, and be pretty. If you hadn't seen the social media posts, of course, you'd have a hard time tipping who it was.
Yeah, that's right. And it's the Glebe Dirty Reds. Glebe were one of the original teams in the old Sydney competition way back in 1908. Then they died. I can't remember when. You'd probably have a better idea of that, Steve.
Mate, you're testing me. I think they lasted until into the 20s, I'd be guessing.
Yeah, that would have been my guess too. But anyway, they're now in a competition called the Ron Massey Cup, which would be the equivalent, I guess, of about third or fourth grade over there. But Dean Whare, he's now 34. He's got 250 games to his credit with the Seagulls, Panthers, Catalan, London, and even the Pia Donkeys. So he's well and truly a veteran of the game, and 20 tests for New Zealand. We shouldn't forget that. And very strange one. He's decided to pull on the boots again in the Ron Massey Cup, where I think he'll be a bit of a target, so he'll want to watch himself. But he made his debut last weekend. They beat Ryde 24-20, and apparently he played pretty well. So good for him. It's good to see guys putting back into the game.
Our man Jason Costigan on rugbyleague.com actually met up with Dean Whare in France. I think he was playing Elite One in France until the end of the domestic season there. So a fellow who loves to play, obviously just loves to play and loves to play 12 months a year, probably be back playing in France when he's finished at Glebe Dirty Reds. Your last item was so strong that it also appears on the Wide World of Sports website as a separate story. Very, very serious situation in a couple of country groups with referees abandoning games.
Yeah, that's right. And this is in Group 10 and 11, and it's a huge area of Australia. In New South Wales, Western New South Wales goes from Lithgow to Nyngan. I reckon that area is probably as big as England itself, but not a huge population, as you know. The middle of Australia, not a lot of people, but enough to form rugby league teams and enough to form ratbag fans. And basically, this all started when a referee abandoned the game at half time. He was so intimidated and so fearful for his safety. And they appealed to the New South Wales Rugby League. The league, to their opinion, didn't do enough to support them. So they went on strike last week, and there weren't going to be any games. But then the New South Wales Rugby League flew in a couple of referees, and the games went ahead, which again didn't really please the Referees Association in those two groups. So it's all a bit of a stalemate at the moment. They're demanding more support. The league saying you're not getting it, and it's an unfortunate situation. It's not only the fans but the players who are giving the referees grief. So yeah, not a good situation, and hopefully they can resolve it soon.
Huge story, Tony. Surprised that hasn't got wider coverage everywhere, but maybe it will now. So good job uncovering that. And everyone, don't forget to like and subscribe as well, because that helps us get to the point where we can do more of this and do it better. And you know, it isn't free to be compiling this content and stuff. So just it costs you nothing to just like and subscribe our videos. Tony, thank you. And enjoy your weekend. Enjoy Canberra. And we'll talk again next week.
Will do. Talk soon, Steve.